Hey Misfits, it's Bobbi, and today I am taking a seat in Lacey's chair because I have a couple things to say. So I sent out an email yesterday and I was talking about my love for the show Handmaid's Tale. We have a Handmaid's Tale candle that we've been talking about for a while. I love the show, Lacey loves the show. It's a good show. There's a new season coming out April 8th, so I figured what better time to talk about my love for the show, tied into our candle, talk about how it's eerily similar to some things that we're dealing with in our personal lives here. And yeah, I always just take an opportunity on Wednesdays to kind of chat with you guys, give you an authentic look into how I'm feeling that day and how it ties into everything else going on. Nothing crazy, right? That was until I got a couple responses. Okay, it looks like I ruffled some feathers. Sorry. But today I'm not going to give voice to everybody. I think that not everyone deserves that. However, I will be addressing one person. Lauren, this one's for you. Lauren says, "Hi ladies, maybe promote getting involved with the National April 5th protests instead of promoting watching a very depressing, triggering show that requires money to be watched on a streaming service. If someone actually wants to do something, watching Handmaid's Tale won't change anything except increase our anxiety and hopelessness. Protesting is actually helpful. Just a thought." It's a great thought, Lauren. I'm really happy that you decided to share that with us. We're always open. You guys know you can always reply to our emails, let us know how you're feeling. But this one was interesting to me. When I was in college, I read a book. It was like a design book or something. It wasn't meant to teach me any sort of like life lessons necessarily, but there was something in it that has stuck with me. The author of the book opened up by telling a story of how she received a book that described a bunch of different trees and just what they look like, how to recognize them, things like that, for her birthday or something. And she was saying that it was like a really random gift, but she was happy to have it, set it on her coffee table, whatever. Randomly one day, she decided to open the book and read it, and she flipped to a random page, and the page was talking about Joshua trees. She read about Joshua trees. She thought, oh my gosh, what a weird looking tree. How have I never seen these trees before? That's so funny. It says that it's in Southern California. That's where I live. But she had never seen a Joshua tree before. Then she put the book down and went on with her day. And then later, she walked outside her front door and noticed that there was a Joshua tree in her front yard and a Joshua tree in her neighbor's yard and all throughout her neighborhood that she had been living in for years and had never noticed. This is super important because the lesson of the book was talking about how being able to put names to things and recognize things in your own world gives you a deeper level of understanding of them and therefore gives you control over them. In design, it means if you're aware of spacing, if you're aware of color combos, it'll give you an eye for what looks wrong when you're looking at a design. But I've also felt like that is something that it can also be translated into real life, and let me explain. Yes, Lauren, even though watching a show at home isn't going to change the world, it's also very important for a number of reasons. Number one, if you don't recognize, if you can't put names to things and have a deeper understanding of certain issues, when they're happening to you or around you, you're not going to consume them as easily. Just like when you hear a song for the first time or you hear a word for the first time, all of a sudden you start hearing it everywhere. That's actually not a coincidence. That is just your brain being able to recognize and consume things easier once it's been made aware of them. This also works in politics and things that are going on in our current political atmosphere. If we aren't aware of them, if we don't have the background, if we don't have an understanding of them previous to experiencing them, it's a lot easier for them to be slipped under the rug and for us not to register what's happening in our own lives. So even though sitting at home and watching a show may do nothing, it actually is very helpful. It gives you the tools and the power to understand the slippery slope that is our feminine rights being stripped from us and slowly but surely escalating into a dystopian era here, okay? So even though The Handmaid's Tale is not a documentary, it is not actually currently what's happening, it does not mean that watching the show is pointless. It gives you the knowledge and the experience to understand how those things happen and what they look like when they do. Even in extreme measures, it's still helpful to know. And it's also just entertaining, Lauren. Maybe I like to watch miserable TV so I feel better, okay? Maybe I like to watch sad, triggering shows. I didn't say you had to go watch the show. So yeah, even though Lauren makes a good point, hey, you can always go out and protest. I never said that. I never said that you shouldn't be protesting. That's awesome. But it's also really rich of you to assume that everyone has the physical means to go out and do that, that everyone has the time or the money or are even located in an area where that's going on, and that that's something that could be easily accessible to them. Of course, in a perfect world, you can always go start your own movement, and you can have all these grand things that you can talk about great things that you could do that would be better than watching a show. But there's also a lot of power in starting with a show, and starting with educating yourself, and starting with consuming content that may be relevant to you later on. So yeah, I think watch the show, don't watch the show. There's a lot to learn from watching the show, but it's not pointless. It's never pointless to educate yourself. It's never pointless to give yourself an experience that's worth having. And also, it's just a good show. So Lauren, I better see you out there with your boots strapped up on April 5th for that protest, since you think it's the only thing that is helpful. All of us will be doing things that we're comfortable with. We'll be doing our part, whether it's sitting at home and watching a show, or making sure we keep up with the news to keep ourselves educated, or strapping our boots on and going out there on April 5th and any other day where protesting is being done. And protesting every day in our lives, just like I said in the email. Purchasing from a woman-owned small business is a protest in itself. Your money and how you choose to spend it is your power, and we're a small, local, woman-owned business where if you support us, you are pushing your protests with your money. That's just how it works. So I'm sorry if I offended anyone. You don't have to watch the show. If you do, I'd love for you to email me and let me know what you think, and we can chit-chat about it. But yeah, sorry, Lauren. Some of us like to watch TV. I know, it's not perfect, I know, but it's gonna be okay. I'll see you on April 5th. You better get your boots on, girl. But yeah, I just had to reply. I feel like there is a lot of misconceptions when it comes to what matters in this world. Anything matters. It may be a small drop in a big pond, but anything you do truly does help and truly does make a difference, even if it just is educating yourself and consuming content that gives you the tools and the resources to understand the world around you. So I hope everyone's having a good day. Thank you for listening to my rant. And shout out to Lacey for letting me borrow her chair, because I don't know how else I could do a rant without sitting here in the throne of rants. So, bye, Misfits.